Welcome to Study Loop.
Okay, this is kind of an interesting problem. We have a trash can lid with about half a kilogram in mass. We want to suspend this trash can lid in the air using by throwing balls up and hitting it elastically and deflecting off of it. If these balls that we're throwing up have a mass of 0.06 kilograms and we're throwing it up at about 12 meters per second, we were asked how many elastic collisions per second would be required to suspend this lid in the air against the force of gravity. So it's a force balance problem, but we have to interpret what the force of these elastic collisions is. Okay. So to start, we know that the force of gravity on the lid is just mg, where m is the mass of the lid. Now the force of the elastic collisions is a little bit more tricky. So we have to consider an average, which is reasonable. Recall that the average force exerted on an object is the rate change of momentum. So on average, force, an exact measure of what force is change in momentum over time. So it would be a time derivative of momentum. But in the average sense, it's simply a change in momentum over a change in time, delta p over delta t. So all we need to deal with is figure out what would the change in momentum be, the total change of momentum due to one collision of the ball. So if it's hitting it and deflecting off elastically, the ball changes its momentum. It's going one way with a momentum of mv, and then it's going the opposite way with a momentum of mv. Thus, the total change of momentum of the ball would be 2 times the mass of the ball times the velocity of the ball. The reason why it's 2 is because it's not only stopped, it's deflected back, so it's 2 times its initial momentum. And by Newton's third law, that change momentum of the ball has to be transferred into the lid, exerting a force. So that's that. If this is true, it must be the case that our delta t, our interval, is thus 2m ball, velocity of the ball, over the average force. So for this force to equal the force of gravity of the lid, we replace F average with force of gravity. And we are left with the mass of the lid times little g. So it's really not that bad. Now the last step we need to do is if we want to get a frequency F, which was the number of balls hitting per second, that is simply the reciprocal of delta t. You can check out the units if you're unconvinced. So with this, it must be the case that we have this expression we derived for delta t. Just we flip it to give us a frequency. And that's our final result. Plugging in all of our numbers, noting that little g is 9.81, as it always is. We know everything else. We will end up with a result of 3.4 balls per second. This is the number of balls that have to be hitting this lid vertically upward and deflecting elastically in order to suspend it against gravity. So it's a little bit of a weird problem, but we just use our force and momentum principles to get us there. And that's it.